I'm Cliff Tour, and this is Tales from the Cube, a podcast about working in the call center industry. The good, the bad, the funny, and not so funny about life working in the call center industry.
Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Tales from the Cube. I'm Cliff. Thanks for dropping in. So, I wanted to talk today about some of the funnier things that happen on calls, some of the weird calls that I've received in my time working in call centers, and there are many of them, lots and lots of them. There's so many that I've had over the years. Many of them, of course, I don't remember, but there are some poignant ones that I think are really interesting to sort of touch on, and I thought I'd do that this morning. It is a Saturday morning here that I'm recording this, and I figured why not have a little bit of fun. You know, it's so easy to get into the negative, but there is a lot of funny stuff that does go on in calls, and you do have to remember to have a bit of a sense of humor on the job. So one of the things that I had happen when I first started out working in the call center industry was a call that I got that was rather bizarre. The person who called me, or actually I was calling them, was not happy about the call because they thought it was somebody else. So when I rang them up, the first things out of their mouth were a bunch of swear words, and they called me a person's name, whom of course I don't know, and my reaction was, well, I'm not that individual. My name is Cliff. I'm from the Parents Resource Information on Drug Education, or actually I'm calling on behalf of them, because I was working for a company called GWE. We always had to say, I'm calling on behalf. We never should have, and there were people that did this, that's a no-no, who would call, say they were from the charity, but no. I was calling on behalf of Pride Canada, which is the Parents Resource and Information on Drug Education group, and I told the person that after they were swearing at me and cussing me out for like 2 minutes, and they said, "Oh, yeah, that's who I am. Would you like to go forward and offer up a donation? We're looking for more donations this year to help supplement the organization, to provide more resources to parents and helping their kids out to avoid drug use." And they told me no. So that was rather interesting. There were other rather interesting things that happened in that call center that were funny. I remember one guy did this, and I'm going to say never do this, but I had heard one advisor on the campaign who was speaking to somebody who really didn't comprehend English, and I hope to God they never got an evaluation done on the call. They said that their name was Dick Wad. Yeah, that's what they said, and they spelt it out to the customer, DICKWAUD. That's what they gave their name as the customer was being rude to them, but didn't have a comprehension of English that was really good. So they did that. I have to laugh about it now, but really this is not something you do on a call. You should never say anything nasty like that to a customer. Another time what I did this. There was this guy that sat in front of me, and again, this was at the same company, GWE, and we were goofing around, and I made my eyes as wide as I could, and it freaked him out. It was funny watching him go, ah! It was great. So, that kind of humor was around and abounded quite literally in that center. So that's one thing. Another time working with Neiman Marcus was rather interesting. I had a customer give me a call, and the first thing out of their lips was, "Do you have any hot babes?" What? Do you have any hot babes there? Well, I was like shocked. I couldn't believe that somebody would ask me such a question. Do I have any hot babes? No. There are no hot babes here. A lot of pretty ladies, I will admit, but there's no, quote, hot babes. I think you got the wrong numbers, sir. Well, the end result was having to let this gentleman know that if he wanted that kind of service, he would have to dial a 900 number. That was rather funny because the funnier part of this was the fact that he called back. Yeah, believe it or not, he called back. And I got him. And I was like, are you kidding me? And again, he asked for this. So finally, I had to put my foot down and be very clear with the gentleman. Look, I get it. You're looking for something in particular. We don't do that here at Neiman Marcus. I strongly recommend that you call one of these other services at a 900 number, and you'll get what you're looking for. But if you continue to call us, we're going to trace the number, and there are going to be visits by the police to you, because this is no longer funny, this is harassment. So please don't do that. We had all kinds of interesting characters call us at Neiman Marcus. We had a person who was a big-time kinky individual who was into shoes. Yeah, believe it or not, he had a shoe foot fetish like there was no tomorrow. A big-time foot fetish. We had people give us a call who were into women's garments. I'm talking about undergarments, and would ask our female staff about that, what they were wearing. Some women take this in great stride, and I have to give them credit for doing that. But really, there's nothing funny about that kind of call. It's degrading. It's really, really not nice. But some will just pass it off. I know a colleague of mine. I asked her about that recently, and I said, "Hey, Patty, what do you do if some guy's really getting like fresh with you over the phone?" She said, "I just ignore it, because what they really want is for me to react." And I just laugh it off. And yeah, it's offensive, but I just laugh it off, because that interaction, if I go forward and move ahead with the kind of reaction they're looking for, it's just going to encourage them to do it more. So that kind of thing was the prevalent. I had another woman who gave me a call asking me to basically match to Target. They wanted me to provide service to them. They wanted to, do an order. But what happened was they said, I want you to, match the price. And I said, well, just so you understand, this is Neiman Marcus. We don't do price matching to Target. We don't handle that. Because the bottom line is that's not our job. We are a premier company that has quality products that you are welcome to choose from, but we are not going to price match Target. And her reply to me at that point was, you are here to service me. Let me rephrase that. You are here to service me. Well, you can imagine where my mind went. Oh, did it go to the trash can, or did it go to the trash can? Absolutely. And I had to stop. I had to put the brakes on and not say to her, that's going to cost you a lot of money, because I charge $1,000 per hour for that. But I didn't. I really didn't, because I knew that it could get me in serious trouble if the call got screened by a quality advisor. So, again, very, very tough not to say anything. But boy, that was funny. And I still do have a lovely friend that I hang out with over the internet on Facebook. Her name her name is Roxanne. And Roxanne and I always had a lot of fun in the call center. We used to tease each other and pinch each other. Now, you're not really supposed to do that, okay? That's a no-no from HR perspectives, but we still did it anyway, and we would hug each other, like profusely hug each other, to the point it would drive the managers nuts. It was great, because we were having fun, we were letting off steam. Nothing was ever meant by it, because, as I jokingly said to her, I'm not going to try anything funky here, Roxy, because I know that your husband was a former corporal in the Army, and he was a trained sniper. I don't want a bullet in my head here. Thank you very much. Of course, that would never have happened. But the point is, we had fun, and, it was great. In fact, she used to enjoy smushing me, hugging me in a certain way that I won't go into, but it was like I would turn be red and she'd love it. So it was great. That kind of stuff you kind of do because it's funny, but you have to know when to do that kind of thing and when not to, and when to stop, because you could get yourself in real trouble. Having said that, another call center I worked at was Phonetics and Telecom, and we got some pretty strange people on the phone there. One time I got a caller who said, after answering, and I asked, for their name, and they gave it to me. And great, I'm just calling on behalf of Zellers. I'm wondering if you'd like one of our cards. I'm not here. What? I'm not here. You just tell me your name. You confirmed your identity. You're what? I'm not here. And that became a moment of awkwardness, and I don't know, I couldn't do anything with that. I just simply had to leave the call. I had a woman wanting to sing for me, and wanting me to sing for her. Yeah, believe it or not, you would get that. Some of the other strange things that you get working as an advisor in a call center are people wanting you to do things like give them directions or tell them the time. That's always kind of weird and awkward and somewhat funny. There are people that will call you up and basically ask you for certain things that are not within the scope. So I had a person recently on the current campaign that I'm on, I won't mention it because we're not supposed to brand them, who asked me about bread and wanting to go to a particular store to essentially return the bread. And I said, you realize you have not called that supermarket. You have called XYZ company. We don't do that. We do computers. We do phones. We do stuff like that. We don't, you've reached the technical support team for this particular company. And yeah, but he continued to insist a little bit about doing that. I said, no, you want to call your grocer about the bread. That's not great. And one of the more stranger calls, and this happened a lot too and still does, was with a company called Pizza 73. They're still around. They are owned by Pizza. I remember a number of times getting strange calls, including one person who wanted milk with their pizza. Okay, I don't think we had that at that time on the menu, or would like for us to go and get them beer while on the run. We never did that. But one of my colleagues actually got a call where it was escalated to them as a customer service call, and the person wanted a new pizza, and it was based on the fact that they actually stuffed the food down their pants. Yeah, that's what they did. Took the pizza, put it down their pants. I'm surprised they didn't get seriously burned from doing such a thing. Why would you do that? It's just odd, weird that you would go forward and do that. But I laughed about it, and it's like, okay. But yeah, we also made it clear we're not giving you another pizza. No, that's okay. You carry on, figure this out on your own, because you did this, we didn't. What I'm getting to here is that in a call center, you're going to see people do things that are funny and hear things that are funny, and you're going to also on the call hear and see things that are funny. They're going to hit you the funny way in a funny way, and you just kind of have to chuckle with it. Some of the things are awkward. I had and have had calls where people are telling me that something really, it's funny, but it's not funny. It's just kind of awkward, and you kind of just have to look at it and go, okay. And then I've had my colleagues talk about calls that are really funny. Like we laugh about it, but it's really also not funny. Like somebody's taking their device and sticking it in a stove, turning it on, or not a stove, but a microwave, turning it on for a few seconds to see if they can go forward and get the battery charged faster. Don't do that. Really, don't do that. It's just things like that. I mean, people are going to do odd things, say odd things. And some of it is funny, some of it is awkward, and some of it is just inappropriate, in particularly this day and age. And the idea here I want to stress as well is some of the things I've talked about are funny, and I hope that nobody in hearing this will be offended by some of the stuff I've described here. Please don't take offense. It's just basically an experience that I had, which to me is still kind of funny. But in modern times here, we wouldn't really go forward and do some of the things that we would do or had done back in the past. Not because they're wrong or that they're not funny, but we don't want to offend people. We don't want to harm in any way, shape, or form. We want to be professional as well. But you can still have fun. You can still do things. And if a person, for example, is okay with, for example, being hugged profusely, then okay, as a little joke or something like that, you could do that. But always make sure if you're going to do anything like that, or you're going to play a prank on somebody, that you're wise enough and smart enough to be aware that that could cause problems, and you might want to suss it out, make sure that person has a good sense of humor so that you don't get yourself in trouble. So any kind of jokes or any kind of pranks you don't want to do them without basically knowing that they're okay with that. And even then, really, it should be so low key that it's just a one-off here and there, I think. And in fact, really, today, I find particularly we've gotten a little bit too rigid with certain things where humor is concerned and where being funny is concerned. And I think we need to sort of relax a little bit, but not too much that we don't forget that we're dealing with people who might be harmed or hurt by what you do and what you say. So be careful of that. And on the call, the same sort of thing has to be taken into consideration. I've mentioned humor before in this podcast. It is a really tricky thing to use on a call, and you have to be aware of what you're doing. But also there are times when a customer is going to present something to you that's just off the wall, off the hook, funny. And it's okay to laugh with them. It's okay to have a bit of fun with them and joke around and enjoy the moment. All I would say in any situation, internally at your workplace and externally on the call, because the call in a sense is external, you're talking with customers, is know where and when it's appropriate to exhibit a bit of humor, and know when it is not. To go forward and do that in a manner that is acceptable is the most important thing. With that in mind, I'm going to amble on here. I'm going to move on to the next thing. I really appreciate the increase in listens. I am so thankful to hear from other sources that the podcast is getting listened to, and I'm really excited to see the listener count go up, and also the feed getting heard. The podcast is actually out there, and people are listening, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the podcast in your busy day and choosing us as one of your sources to listen to while you're on the job, or at a point where you're driving to or from A to B. And I hope that you enjoy what you're hearing and that you pick up some interesting tips and tricks and find this podcast to be what you would expect it to be: informative, entertaining, and enlightening. Please share it. Let other people know about us, and I will look forward to doing the next one in short order. Once again, my name is Cliff, and thanks again for listening to Tales from the Cube. We'll see you in the next episode.
Tales from the Cube can be heard on Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts, as well as through the Anchor platform. I'm Cliff Tour. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next Tales from the Cube episode.